Hello and welcome back to another training with Blue Equinox. This is Baron Solomon and we're going to be moving through the next training on email prospecting, and it's important to you as a sales associate with Blue Equinox. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in. So email prospecting is something that you will have to do early on in your career with Blue Equinox, as well as continuously, as long as you operate in a sales role in any capacity with any company. As you know by now, email is an integral part of everything that we do at Blue Equinox, and it's also an integral part of every business everywhere. It is the main form of communication from company to company, and it is something that is going to be crucial for you to understand how to do if you are going to best utilize the resources that are given to you. So obviously, as this first slide says, email is not a replacement for placing calls to prospects. One thing that we want everyone to understand is that while an email can be an effective way to stay in touch with potential prospects or communicate large amounts of information that may take an extended period of time on the phone, it is not the best way to reach people. This is something that is to be used as a tool, and it should be viewed that way. You should never rely 100% on email prospecting for your ability to get opportunities and to continue to add revenue to the funnel. This should be something that you use as a supplement. It should be something that you learn how to do for the sole purpose of setting up future calls and setting up future deals that you're going to add to the funnel. So, you may ask yourself, well, how do I know what an effective email looks like? Because that's what you're trying to send, are emails that are going to get your point across, get your message across, but at the same time, not be too long, not be too short. There's a lot to consider. So what we've done in the next few slides is compile some information that we believe comprises an effective prospecting email, and really just effective emails in general. So, obviously you can read through some of the, or all of the pieces of information that we have on this slide. The few that I want to hit on is the clear purpose of the email. Obviously, we want the potential customer or potential prospect to understand exactly why it is that you are contacting them. If people open up your email and they don't believe that it has a clear message and they don't have a clear understanding as to why they are being contacted by you, they will absolutely, completely forget about that email the second that they read it. You need to make sure in your prospecting that you are getting the intended message across in a clear and concise way, that you are being as professional as possible, and that you are relaying the appropriate information in the best possible format. So obviously you can read through some of these, and they are I call them duh statements. Correct spelling, punctuation, capitalization, and grammar. That should be something that needs to go without saying, but it is obviously important, so that's why we put it on here. The next slide is something that I feel is important for email prospecting, and also some of these taglines that we can see on here can be said the same thing for calling. So obviously you want to have a targeted subject line. You want the user or the reader to understand what they're getting themselves into when they open up the email. You don't want there to be any ambiguity, because if there is, they're just going to completely delete it and not even look at it. Obviously, you want them to have a reason to continue to read past the first paragraph. So you have to give the prospect something to hold on to. Why should I continue to read this? If you continuously say things that are ambiguous and don't make much sense to the potential end user, they will absolutely forget all about your email and move on about their merry day. But if you say something along the lines of, we have helped 3 businesses in your complex reduce the overall cost of their IT on a month-to-month basis and have added feature functionality to them. Here are their names and contact numbers. They would be more than willing to speak with you about what we've been able to do for them, and we would like to help you as well. Now, that is a compelling reason to respond back, to click on the email, to actually set a time to meet. So, again, you want to make sure that you are following the steps that we have listed in here when you're comprising your email. In a few slides, we have some very specific examples of what it looks like to put together a successful email. So I'm going to scroll through the next couple of slides. I'll let you read through these. There's a lot of information on these pages to speak through, but the most important thing is for you to understand what we are looking for is a clear, concise email with a targeted subject line, the appropriate language, proper grammar and spelling, capitalization, punctuation, to come across as professional as possible while at the same time seeming relatable. You don't want them to think that there's a computer that's cranking out these emails. You want them to know that it came from you. However, you also do not want to come across as someone who is unprofessional in any way, shape, or form, because they will not trust you to give them advice about their IT infrastructure, which is obviously the goal. So, like I said, I'm going to let you read through some of the information that we have. There's a lot of language on these next 3 slides, so feel free to go ahead and pause as you will. Spend as much time on these slides as you need, but these are just some examples of what we feel are appropriate for each of the different scenarios that you might find yourself in, whether it's informal or formal, whether it's geography-based or vertical-based. There's a lot of different ways that you can determine how you're going to speak to your potential prospects. So we just put some of those together for you to take a look at here in the next couple of slides. So, like I said, feel free to pause on either of those last 2 slides as you see fit. I just wanted to cycle through those fairly quickly. I know there was a lot of information on there, but we do recommend that you spend as much time on those slides as you need to understand the concepts and generate some hopefully potentially good emails from that section. This next slide gives examples of exactly what we're looking for, from good email characteristics to poor email characteristics. Obviously, you never want to use any slang language or long rambling statements, anything that's repetitive. You want to make sure, once again, that you are being as professional and relatable as possible, while at the same time reflecting the value that we bring to the customer in a way that's not going to cost them very much time. Because as we all know, time is money, and for most business owners, they don't have very much time. So they appreciate emails where they are going to be able to understand exactly what it is that you want from them or why they're reading the email in a very short period of time. So, obviously you can read through what is listed on this slide. A lot of this is regurgitation from what we have already spoken about, but it's very important and it's good to give examples so that you can see exactly what we mean when we are talking about what we're looking for in an email and what we're not looking for in an email. So feel free to, once again, stop on this slide if you feel like you need to soak up any information that you want, but otherwise I'm going to keep moving. So here's a good example of an informal email that we're looking for. In this, you can see they start out with just a simple name, Andy, as opposed to Dear Mr. Smith, or whatever the situation is. They just went with that. I hope you're well. I would like to connect and talk about the Mental Health Center's IT roadmap for the next 12 to 24 months. Your business currently serves more than 1,000 business customers in North Alabama, including the city of Madison, Redstone Federal Credit Union, and Lockheed Martin. This is obviously straight to the point, as you can tell. They didn't have to spend very much time trying to figure out why you were emailing them. This is something that they're going to open up and completely understand what you are looking for right away. You have a call to action down at the bottom. Do you have time on your calendar next Thursday or Friday? I look forward to seeing you. Regards, Mark. If I'm a business owner who's currently having issues with my IT infrastructure and someone sends me this email, I'm at least going to write them back or do some research on their company to see if there's something that they might be able to help us with. So again, this is a great example of an informal email, something that you might send to someone who you have some familiarity with, or an individual who you know would appreciate just a standard email that's not going to be over the top. It's not going to make them feel like they're reading the SAT test to understand exactly what's going on. So this, again, you can use as kind of an outline for when you're writing informal emails. So this one is obviously a little more put together. It's a little more, I guess, wordy is a good way to put it. When you're going to be sending out emails like this is to potential CIOs, individuals who work for large corporations who you know would appreciate the professionalism and the extra time that would go into a formal email. This is something that you will use as you are making your way through LinkedIn, places like that. You're looking for professionals. These are not just mom and pop shop owners. These are people who encounter email on a day-to-day basis, and you know that they will appreciate and understand the more formal type of email. It's something that they're looking for. It's something that they value. And again, I can read through this, but you can obviously see. Feel free to stop, to scroll back and forth between the informal and the formal email to get ideas as to what we are looking for. One more thing that I want to touch on again is simply the fact that email prospecting should never be your primary form of adding revenue to your funnel. You should never rely on this as your sole means of gaining new opportunities. This is something that is a filler, if you will. You're going to use this as a way to set up your calls, to set up your in-person visits. You're basically using this just to make life easier on yourself. So master it, get it down, make it something that is ingrained in you, is the ability to send an informal professional email and a formal professional email to a potential prospect, as well as business owners. You can use the information that is presented in this presentation for business owners as well, just individuals that you already have contact with. By applying the principles and practices from this training, you can understand how best to send professional emails. So this is the last slide we have here. Thanks again for tuning in, and we will see you next time.